Okay, so are you ready to really dig in? Today we're doing a deep dive into the history of Cologne, Germany.
A deep dive?
Yeah, you know Cologne, right? Everyone knows Cologne.
At least the name sounds familiar, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you said, at least the name, but I'm guessing most people probably don't know much more than that.
Probably not, although I bet they'd recognize that cathedral.
Oh, for sure. That cathedral's iconic. But trust me, after this deep dive, you'll be able to impress your friends with all sorts of fun facts about Cologne, way beyond just the cathedral.
I do love a good fun fact.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
And this Wikipedia article we're using as our source. It's a gold mine, I'm telling you.
Okay, so are we talking Roman ruins, medieval shenanigans? What kind of fun facts are we dealing with here?
Oh, we're talking everything. Roman emperors, medieval power struggles, you name it. Cologne's seen it all, and we're going to unpack it all.
Well, let's not waste any time then. Let's go all the way back to the beginning.
To the very beginning.
Back when Cologne was just a twinkle in the Roman Empire's eye.
So picture this. It's 50 AD, the Roman Empire is at the top of its game, and they decide to plant their flag on this little patch of land right on the Rhine River. And what do they call it?
Let me guess something really simple and easy to remember.
Oh yeah, super simple. They went with Colonia, Claudia era, Agrippinensium.
Catchy. You think they'd have gone with something a little shorter for the bumper stickers?
Right. Try fitting that on a postcard.
But hey, it's not just a mouthful. It actually tells us a lot about how important this new city was to the Romans.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Break it down for me.
So Colonia, that means this wasn't just some random military outpost. The Romans were serious about putting down roots here. This was a full-on Roman city with all the perks,
Right.
Roman law, Roman citizenship, the whole shebang.
Wow, they really went all out. Huh.
Oh yeah, and it gets even more interesting. Claudia. That part's a nod to Emperor Claudius, of course, but then there's the Agrippinensian.
It's Agrippinensium.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to have to explain that one.
So Agrippina the Younger was Emperor Claudius's wife. And get this, naming a city after a woman while she was still alive. Almost unheard of in Roman times.
No way. Seriously.
Seriously, it shows you just how much influence Agrippina had. This wasn't just a case of happy wife, happy life. She was a force to be reckoned with, a power player in her own right.
Agrippina, the OG feminist icon.
There you go. And the fact that they named Cologne after her, it tells you just how important this new city was to the Romans. They were sending a message, we're here to stay, and we're not messing around.
Bold move. But you know what else I love about history? A good old-fashioned power struggle.
Oh yeah, those are always juicy. And Cologne has had its fair share, hasn't it?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And it all really heats up in the Middle Ages when you've got the city itself and its archbishops locked in this epic tug-of-war for power.
The clash of the titans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, these archbishops, they weren't afraid to think big.
We're talking grand ambitions.
Grand is an understatement. They wanted to make it crystal clear who was in charge and their master plan. Well, it involved a little bit of divine intervention, or at least some seriously impressive architecture.
Cue the dramatic music.
Dun, dun, dun. It's the Cologne Cathedral.
You knew it was coming.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't talk about Cologne without mentioning the cathedral. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
This wasn't just about religious devotion. This was a power move on an epic scale.
Oh, it was a statement piece for sure. Think about it. Construction began in 1248.
1248. Talk about a long-term project.
They weren't messing around. They were building for the ages. And here's a little tidbit you might not know. The choir, which was consecrated in 1322, it was actually built in the high GH Gothic style.
High Gothic style.
Yeah, the trendy new style at the time.
So they were basically like, we only use the latest and greatest architectural trends here in Cologne.
Exactly. It's like they were saying, hold my beer, world, watch this.
Yeah.
This cathedral wasn't just a place of worship. It was a declaration.
A declaration of power.
Exactly. And let's be real, it worked. It's hard not to feel a little bit intimidated when you're standing in the shadow of that thing.
Totally agree. But while the archbishops were busy building their masterpiece, Cologne itself was busy becoming an economic powerhouse.
Yeah.
This was a city on the rise, a key player in the Hanseatic League.
The Hanseatic League. Now we're talking.
Right. This was like the VIP club of medieval trade.
Yeah.
And Cologne, they were right there in the thick of it.
And let's be clear, being a part of the Hanseatic League, that wasn't just some honorary title. This was a big deal. We're talking about a network of merchants who basically controlled trade across all of Northern Europe for centuries.
They were running the show.
Oh, yeah. And Cologne, with its prime location right on the Rhine River, they were a linchpin in this whole operation, a bustling hub of merchants and goods and ideas flowing in from all over the place.
I can just imagine the energy in those markets, the deals being struck, Fortunes being made.
It was the place to be if you were anyone in the trading world.
But all this tension between the city and its archbishops, something had to give eventually, right?
Oh, yeah, this couldn't last forever. Something had to break.
And break it did. In 1288, at the Battle of Worringen.
The Battle of Worringen. Now, this is where things get really interesting.
This is what I love about history, those moments where everything changes in the blink of an eye, or in this case, the clash of a sword.
And trust me, the Battle of Worringen was a game changer.
Right, so spill the medieval tea, what went down?
Well, let's just say the archbishops, they didn't exactly come out on top.
Oh. So what happened? Tell me, Cologne crushed it, right?
Crushed it. It is an understatement. Cologne didn't just win. They basically said, game over, we're in charge now.
Whoa, okay, hold on. We're in charge now. What does that even mean? Did they become like the medieval version of a rebel alliance or something?
Kind of. They became a free imperial city.
A free imperial city. Okay, so what does that actually mean, though?
It means they were their own boss, basically. They answered only to the emperor himself. No more archbishops breathing down their necks.
No more meddling archbishops. That's a pretty sweet deal.
Right. They could make their own laws, raise their own armies. They were a major power player now. Not bad for a city that started off as a Roman settlement, huh?
Talk about a glow-up.
Okay, but let's fast forward a bit. We're entering some pretty wild times in Europe now with the Reformation.
Oh, yeah, things are about to get really interesting.
Because I'm thinking Cologne, with all their newfound power and independence, they didn't just sit this one out, did they? You know, Cologne, they never do things halfway. And during the Reformation, well, they went all in. But here's the thing. While a lot of cities were jumping on board with the whole Protestant thing, Cologne, they doubled down on Catholicism.
Really? So while everyone else is breaking away from the Catholic Church, Cologne's like, nope, we're good.
Exactly. In fact, they became a major center for the Counter-Reformation.
The what now? Counter-Reformation. What's that all about?
So basically, it was the Catholic Church's response to the Reformation. They were like, okay, hold on, we need to get organized here and fight back. And Cologne became a key battleground in this whole war of ideas.
A war of ideas. So instead of swords and shields, it was all pamphlets and debates.
Pretty much. And remember how we talked about Cologne's awesome printing industry? Well, that came in handy.
Ah, so they were printing pamphlets left and right, defending Catholicism and all that. Like a medieval printing press propaganda machine.
Exactly. Cologne became this powerhouse of Counter-Reformation literature. They were churning out books and pamphlets like it was nobody's business.
Wow. Okay, so they were really committed to this whole Counter-Reformation thing. But I gotta ask, even with all that printing power, did they ever get called out? Like, did anyone ever make fun of them?
Oh, you bet they did. Remember those letters of obscure men?
Letters of obscure men.
It sounds juicy. Tell me more.
Well, basically, these letters were like the ultimate burn of the Renaissance. They were published anonymously, and they poked fun at all these stuffy traditionalist scholars. And guess who was a prime target?
Oh, no. Let me guess, the scholars of Cologne. Bingo. They were all about defending the old ways, resisting new ideas. And the letters of obscure men, they totally skewered them for it.
I can just imagine the scandal. It's like the Renaissance version of a Twitter roast gone viral.
Exactly. And it just goes to show, even with all the religious and political upheaval going on back then, people still had a sense of humor.
Thank goodness for that. Okay, so we've got Cologne, this powerful independent city standing strong as a bastion to Catholicism in a rapidly changing world. Okay, so we've journeyed from ancient Rome through medieval power struggles and religious showdowns. Cologne has seen it all.
And we're not done yet.
Oh, right, because now we're heading into the modern era, and I have a feeling Cologne didn't just sit back and watch the world pass by.
You know, Cologne, they're not exactly wallflowers.
Definitely not. So what happens when the modern world comes knocking?
Well, the 19th century brings a whole new set of challenges and opportunities with the Industrial Revolution. And Cologne, they embraced it wholeheartedly.
Of course they did. Were they churning out Model Ts or something?
Not quite, but they were definitely churning out something. Factories popping up left and right, the population booming. It was a time of massive growth and transformation.
Wow, that's a big change from medieval trading posts and cathedral construction. Did they try to hold on to any of that old world charm?
They actually did something pretty drastic. They tore down those old medieval city walls.
Whoa, seriously? That's a pretty bold statement.
It was a symbol that were breaking free from the constraints of their past, both literally and figuratively. They were making room for progress for a bigger and brighter future.
I like their style. So out with the old walls and with the new. What else did this modernizing Cologne look like?
Well, in 1932, something pretty remarkable happened. The Cologne-Bonn Autobahn opened.
An Autobahn. So they were early adopters of the whole car thing.
Oh yeah, this was one of the first Autobahns in all of Germany. It was a big deal.
I bet it's kind of funny to think about now. We just take Autobahns for granted. But back then, it was this marvel of engineering, this symbol of progress and connectivity.
Exactly. It was a sign of the times, things were moving faster than ever, and Cologne was right there in the driver's seat.
But even with all this progress, of course, the 20th century had its dark side. And Cologne found itself right in the middle of it all with World War II.
It's a tragic chapter in Cologne's story. The city faced devastating air raids, and the destruction was widespread. It's hard to imagine what those times must have been like. It's heartbreaking to think about. But amidst all that destruction, something remarkable happened, didn't it? Cologne, they rebuilt.
They did. They showed incredible resilience, not just rebuilding the physical structures, but also rebuilding their lives, their communities, their spirit. It's a testament to the strength and determination of the people of Cologne.
It really is inspiring. And from those ashes rose a new Cologne, a city that embraced its role as a cultural powerhouse.
Absolutely. They restored what they could of their historical treasures, they rebuilt their infrastructure, and they embraced a new identity. They became a center for art, for media, for international business, a vibrant hub of creativity and innovation. And that's what's so amazing about Cologne, isn't it? They've been through so much Roman conquest, medieval power struggles, religious upheaval, industrial revolution, war destruction, and yet they always come out stronger. They're not defined by any single moment in their history. They're a tapestry woven from all these different threads, and it makes them the unique and vibrant city they are today.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it. They're a living testament to the power of resilience, to the enduring human spirit.
Exactly. So the next time someone mentions Cologne, don't just picture the cathedral.
Although the cathedral's pretty amazing.
It is, but remember, there's so much more to this city than meets the eye. It's a city steeped in history, brimming with life, and full of surprises.
A city that's always evolving, always moving forward.
That's Cologne in a nutshell. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the heart of Germany. We'll catch you next time with another fascinating story.
Thank you for listening. If you love history, don't forget to subscribe to History with Bree and Peter. Join us for more fascinating stories from the past. Hit that subscribe button and never miss an episode.